Hello and welcome to this edition of FiTV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson. We are coming to you from across the Florida Capitol. We're literally right across the street. We're at the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, and we are once again joined by Anthony Pedicini, one of the famed campaign strategists in the state of Florida. He runs amazingly successful campaigns. He sees the insight. He sees the data. He's a crazy man. People love him. The ones that run against him kind of hate him. So
thanks for that.
Anthony, thanks for coming on.
Thanks
we appreciate
for having
it.
me.
So you've run so many successful campaigns. Where do you want to begin? What did the campaign season look like to you this year? How was it different?
I think it was different that COVID kind of overshadowed everything, kind of like it's overshadowing what's going on behind us here today and will continue to go on behind us. Some of the things we talked about when we last talked came true.
Right.
Linda Cheney beat Jennifer Webb. Mike Caruso was returned to the House. David Smith was returned to the House. Fedorov was returned to the House.
Right.
The Senate picked up a seat with Ileana Garcia.
The R's outperformed all expectations.
And we outperformed the president in a state that he won, which was fantastic. So, I watched today Nikki Fried make her response in a press conference to the governor's State of the Union, and he said the governor was not responsive to what the Floridians are looking for. And I think she's completely wrong. I mean, I think that the election showed that this governor and this legislature is completely in lockstep with the people of Florida and what they want. They don't want a closed state. They don't want a closed economy. They want to be free to make the choice to keep them and their family safe the way they see fit.
Right.
And that's what these folks have done, and that's what they ran on.
Yeah, well, visitors are referring to Florida now as free Florida, compared to the rest of the states in the nation. So talk to us about what you heard in the governor's statements, the Senate president's statement, and the Speaker of the House. How are you listening to those messages, not just in a campaign lens, but in what you've heard and seen on the ground across the state of Florida and voters?
Well, I think it's extremely consistent. I don't think anybody's surprised by what Speaker Sprouse or President Simpson or Governor DeSantis said today. These are things that these guys have been saying for a long time. I think, again, the three top issues this year are going to be COVID, COVID, and COVID. It's going to be beating COVID, recovering from COVID, and then whatever lingers from COVID, dealing with that.
Right.
So, I think we have a lot on our plate. I don't think we're in the dire straits that everyone predicted we would be in a year ago when we last talked.
Right.
We're in much better position. The only thing that I think we need to ask everyone who's moving here, because it is free Florida, is to leave their politics at the border and remember why we are free Florida.
So when you look at those moving in, I don't know if you've got any numbers yet, but what's your guess? Because it almost seems like Florida has a bad rap to folks in other states who are scared of the pandemic, but it seems that are we seeing an influx more of conservatives than we are of liberals, if you will, if you want to make that determination?
I don't think you can predict that. I think people are more scared of Florida man than anything else, maybe a little bit of Florida woman. But, when my father relocated us here in 1991, I'm not sure he was a Republican in New York. I've never asked him that. But we were probably a more liberal family from New York, Long Island, moving to conservative Brevard County, and we all became Republicans.
Right.
I was not cognizant of politics at the time, but I'm sure they were. I'm sure there's a little bit of that, depending on where you live.
There was a time when Anthony Pedicini was not cognizant of politics.
Yeah, it was like 9th grade.
Okay. All right.
Oh no, 6th grade.
Right,
grade.
okay.
But no, I think it's important that where people move is going to dictate kind of where their alliance and their ideology lands. If you move to Delray Beach, Florida, you're only going to be able to vote for Democrats in primaries, so you're probably going to end up being a Democrat.
Right.
If you move to a place like New Tampa, it's probably up for grabs.
Right.
If you move into Pasco, you're going to want to vote with Republicans, so you have a say who goes on your school board and who goes on your county commission.
Just overwhelming.
So yeah, I just think it's where people are moving, and you're seeing a lot of movement within Florida too.
Right.
I called Orlando the blue beating heart of the Democratic Party, and it is. And if you look at the roads where Orlando feeds into other areas, as people leave the urban center, they're bringing their politics from the urban core into the more rural setting, and that's changing the face of Florida too.
Sure. So where do you see? We think about advocacy in the Capitol, and we can let the lobbyists and those groups that get engaged in that. But the non-party affiliated members are always this boogeyman party out there because we just don't know which way they're going to go. Where did you see them in the last election, and where do you see them going in the next election?
Yeah, I think they're right leaning. I think independent voters in Florida, which are predominantly becoming more and more the second party in a lot of counties as opposed to the third party, I think depending on where they are, they're more right leaning. I think the messages of defund the police, keep the economy open worked very well with them this time. I think we saw that in the election results in many of these close districts that we talked about last time we were together. And I think it'll continue to be that way as long as the folks behind us fulfill the agenda and promises that they told them they were going to fulfill.
Right. So when you have to handicap both the new structure after the election of the Republican Party versus the structure of the Democrat Party in Florida. I mean, are you seeing a better organization coming out of from the federal influence of the Biden-Harris administration on the Democrat Party versus the organization of the Republicans? And since they lost the big seat, if you will, is there any changes that you see coming out of either side?
So on a state level, no. So in the state level, the Republican Party is still the party that has an enormous political industrial complex, for lack of a better term.
Right.
If you want to run for office as a Republican in Florida, you have your choice of 5 great consultants and 3 great pollsters, or 10 great pollsters, and 10 great treasurers.
Right.
We have a deep bench of talent. I don't see the same thing for the Democrats. Not that I'm calling some of the guys and gals that I know on the other side not talented, because they are.
Right.
But they're not. They don't have the complex machinery that we've developed. I don't believe they have the same data sets that we have.
Right.
I don't want to give away any secrets.
Of course.
But I think we've proven that we know what we're doing here as a Republican Party, political industrial complex, as opposed to what they're doing. I think the one thing that you'll see be different is that we had this whole election where we'd never lost a step on our ground game, and they paused theirs.
Right.
I think that's going to be a huge advantage going into 2022 when everybody over there is up.
Right.
Because we have all that machinery in place.
Right. Gubernatorial election coming up. I mean, that's a huge seat in play. Who do we see, where do we see the other deck seats or the deck chairs shuffling below the governor? I mean,
it's going to be, if Commissioner Freed decides to run for governor, you're going to have an open agriculture commission seat. That'll reset term limits there, so that'll change everything.
Right.
Depending on who challenges CFO Petronas and Attorney General Moody, I think that'll change some things. I mean, there's rumors of former state senators running and current state senators running.
Right.
I think there's going to be a huge shift in what you see, or who you see in that building.
Right.
Not necessarily from party, just from vacancies.
Right.
People are leaving one to run for the other.
Of course. All right, so let's think about the crystal ball, the Pedicini crystal ball. Redistricting is a huge item. It's going to happen this year.
I have nothing to do with it.
Of course not, but if you had to handicap it, where do we see new districts at the House and Senate level?
I don't think you see new districts. I think population shifts south, right? I think you see some of these panhandle.
That's what I meant.
I think you see some of these panhandle seats in the Senate and the House become a little longer.
Right.
I think you see seats in Tampa, Orlando, Miami kind of condense.
Right.
And so you're going to have some changes in the urban cores and the surrounding communities as a result. Sure. I don't think you're going to see wholesale differences in where delegations are, but tweaks here and there as a result. I think on the congressional level, if we get 2 seats, bonanza.
Right.
I mean, the whole place changes again. So, but we're used to that in Florida, and we're lucky because we want more representation in Congress.
1,000 new people a day.
It's great. It keeps our economy going, and look, to have more clout in D.C. doesn't hurt us, especially being a purple state, right? So we have Republicans and Democrats that are advocating for us all the time because they all want to get reelected.
So it doesn't matter who's in the big chair as long as we've got
love
enough.
Florida.
Right.
Gotta love on Florida.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Anthony, thanks for coming on and sharing your insights as always. Good friend of the program, good friend of mine, and we look forward to seeing the magic that you're going to make out of the campaign trail once again.
Hopefully we still got some left.
You've got plenty left. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. That's all the time we have for this interview on FiTV. For more great interviews like this one, make sure you hit us up on our social media. And for now, thanks for tuning in.